Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for Renaissance Periodization. I have a quick tip for you. The quick tip is that in the gym, when you are coaching yourself and especially other people that you are helping with their fitness, simple cues work best. Here's the deal. If you're coaching yourself or others, it is always tempting for some segment of us to try to be as advanced as possible with our cueing, and then using exotic multi-layered cues to try to get the person to shift into the technique that we would like to see. So something like, try to twist your pinkies up and out. And when the glenohumeral joint passes 164 degrees of external rotation, it's like, what the fuck? And if you follow some Insta people, I will not name them, that's the kind of advice they give. You're like, whoa, this person's really smart and must know what they're talking about. But here's the reality. Most exercise moves are actually quite simple. Sport moves are very complex. Kicking a soccer ball properly has a ton of different rotations and joint angles, etc. Bench pressing a bar, squatting, deadlifting is some of the simplest moves you can describe in biomechanics. And here's the even more important part. Humans learn best when simple instructions are given. You want the instructions you give to your clients to allow them to move better. You want them to be understandable so that they can allow people to move better. You don't need the instruction to have the added benefit of making you sound really smart, because your job is to be a service provider to them, to get them to move better so they can be fitter and healthier and all the stuff they're paying you money for. They don't really pay you money for you to sound smart. And if sounding smart came at no additional expense of conveying information, hey, fucking smart it up, Doogie Howser or whatever the fuck. But if sounding smart layers in a needless layer of complexity, layers the layer, I said that better. If sounding smart adds a layer of complexity that obfuscates the actual goal and interferes to some extent with efficient, effective communication, you are literally trying to sound like a fucking nerd at the expense of the benefit to your client. Don't do that. That doesn't make any sense. Before a set, that applies. After a set, that applies. If you're emailing instructions to your client when you watch their video on Loom or whatever, if you're distance coaching, that applies. During the set, of course, you give a few cues here and there. During the set, people are focused on the set and they're in pain and they're exhausted. So the cues you give during a set have to be even simpler. Chest up, shoulders back, elbows up. Don't external, internal, supination, the fuck up out of here. What is this, an anatomy class? It's cool, nerd shit is cool. But if it interferes with message delivery, it's not a good idea to do. It's just not the best time for people to process complexity, if at all. So my recommendation is to use the simplest cues that work. No simpler. You don't want cues that are so simple they're ineffective. Right? What is that probably fake Albert Einstein quote? Like, make everything you can as simple as it can be, but no simpler. Right? So that is definitely a thing that applies, and only elevate the complexity of your explanation when that is required to deliver the information within your explanation. If you can deliver the same amount of information, get the person to understand the same thing and fix the technique that they need to with the smallest amount of information, if you just say chest up versus articulate all of your spinal processes by 1 degree each, summating in a 40-degree total articulation and extension. What? I mean, that actually just said the same thing. But one of those is just straight up fucking nerd speak that most people will not be able to process, at least in real time while they're doing it. Because you have to stop rep. You're like, articulate each one. Okay, got it. There's just chest up. It's the same thing. You don't need to try to sound smart. You don't want to be a nerd with no friends. Trust me. Okay, I've seen it myself. I'll see you guys next time.